and it was convincing, and it was comfortable, and it was really, for all the stress that we might have had going into the game, and I hear it because of the Sporting defeat, Arsenal brushed that aside very professionally, very quickly actually. 2-0 up at half time. They get the third goal early in the second half. And actually Palace, they threw punches. I didn't think they were great at the back at all. I actually think if Arsenal went up a gear, which they could have, I think we could have got even more goals, which is saying something considering we got 4. But I thought Palace, yeah, they threw some punches, and you know, football's a funny sport, isn't it? Because Jorginho's shot rattles the crossbar and goes in off the back of Emi Martinez's head or back, whatever it was. Zaha hits the post, comes off Ramsdale's back. He knows nothing of it, but it goes out for a corner. These are the fine margins of football. That might have been a draw at Villa, and that might have been losing at home to Palace, and then we know there's a lot of work to do from that point. But it wouldn't have told the story of what was a very accomplished, professional, controlled performance from Arsenal. They were really, really good. And anyone who watches Forever Arsenal podcast, for example, or saw the preview, knows that I don't go big on predictions. I've got huge respect for every opposition, and I always go around a 1 or 2-0 win for Arsenal, maybe a 3-1, something like that. But I said it, I'm going to go 4-0 because I think the team are going to want to bounce back. I think the crowd are going to want to make a point, and just say, that's it, 11 games to go, now it's 10. Let's go and really, really make a statement and a point, and just brush away that Sporting thing aside, and almost remind everyone, look, don't think that what you saw on Thursday night was us at our best, or us, you know, performing and taking that competition in a way that we take the Premier League in terms of seriousness and intensity and all that. Now, we're not going to go into the whole debate about whether they should or shouldn't and all that. The point is, you saw a very different Arsenal today in terms of their press, in terms of their intensity, in terms of their determination to score goals, play the football in the right half of the pitch, you know, in the right areas, and just suffocating Palace. And I thought Arsenal were really, really good. So we're just going to enjoy it. As Audio Banger says here, 8 points clear. We know that Man City have that game in hand. We know they do. But, you know, I think it's more the psychological thing. I think it's more saying to Man City, you know, we've got our points in the bag. Are you going to get yours? That's the question. Jay Federer J says, James tracking back quicker than our defence. What am I backtracking on? I was always confident of a good win today, and we got it. Ben White, what a performance. Man of the match says David Amodu, and I agree. I thought Ben White was superb. Man of the match? Maybe. I thought he was brilliant, and I had him as one of the 3 players I shouted out today. Ben White, Rob Holding, Granit Xhaka. I thought they were the 3. And controversially, I didn't think it was Saka's best game at all, but who cares when he is... Got an assist. Did he get the assist for Martinez's goal? I can't remember if he was on who played the pass. But when you are, whether it's a goal and 2 goals and assist, or just 2 goals, he's got that killer instinct in the final third now, Bukayo Saka, which is brilliant. Tierney was something else, says Baller VZ. I thought Tierney's cameo was superb. Thank you, Happy Human. James did predict a 4-0 win. Thank you very much. You are right. Tane, that one was for Patrick. We said in the preview, let's avenge Patrick Vieira. And the Emirates crowd were unbelievable, singing Patrick Vieira's name, singing the Patrick Vieira chant, and just letting Palace know. And I don't think they concede 4 goals if Patrick Vieira's in the job. Does it matter though? Maybe not, because they lost anyway. And, you know, Palace fans are saying that they had more going forward in that game. And fair enough. Look, I think Palace will be fine this season. They've got some really good players. And I thought, as always, we saw Wilfried Zaha putting in his "you should have signed me 3 years ago" performance. I thought he was very, very good. James, we need 10 points to guarantee finishing above them, and we know who them is. That's from Jamie's spoken word of poetry. What a lovely name. That is very true. We're going to have a look at the league table. We're going to have a look at everything, because I know we're all focused on the title race, but of course there are other things that we can hopefully chalk off, just tick, 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 as we approach these big final 10 games of the season. Jared says Holding's been solid, but positioning of the back line is a little worrying without Saliba. Well, I get what you mean. I mean, I was at the game, so I should stress I was actually at the match. And the beauty of watching it live over being, you know, watching on TV is you kind of see the bigger picture. Like, there's rarely a pass that you didn't kind of see was possible, because you do have a view of the whole pitch. But I thought even with our high line, I thought, because they weren't really playing it in beyond, the one time they did was when Zaha hit the post and won a corner. and they very nearly scored their Palace. But that was the one time, really. I thought they were always otherwise trying to ping it into the striker, into Edouard, I believe it was, who led the line, and Holding did really well to win his duels. Didn't win all of them, but you don't always have to win your duels as a centre-back. If you go in and you just do enough to make sure that they can't get their pass off. A few times it was flicked on, but Gabriel and White were saying, brilliant, cool, thank you very much, we'll sweep up. So Holding was really, really good. Your voice is going a tad, James, says Martin Harvey. It absolutely is, because I was celebrating the goals very, very loudly. Need more shots on target, always the same conversation, says Off-Cut Greens. Well, let's have a little look at the match stats. You've got them there on screen. 15 shots to Palace's 8. But yeah, I mean, 8 shots are goal, fair enough. 63% of the ball doesn't surprise me, and only 5 of our 15 shots were on target. We had more we completed more passes, that's to be expected. 86% pass accuracy, committed less fouls, offside twice, 5 corners to their 4. Thought Arsenal looked really, really good today. Let's break the game down and let's start with the starting 11 and remind ourselves, this is what we're going to do, by the way, far more frequently on this show. Of course, Fanzone is a feature, as always. You can hit the link, it's in the chat, it's even in the description. You can download the AFTV Plus app, and we're going to get your thoughts. We'll whack on the headphones and we will hear what you guys make of the game and what you make of our season. And now I've gone and dropped them, so production won't thank me for that. Someone will be joining me as well very, very soon to chat about the game, give their thoughts. Not sure who will be. Someone who was here for the watch along. Of course, I've been away for the last 2.5-3 hours or so. So the game. So I want to start with the starting 11, because he went Trossard. Now, I think starting Martinelli was right. That's what I wanted to see. We'll go on to his performance in a sec. He started with Trossard. I actually thought he'd give it to Jesus, because Trossard played a good 80 for whatever minutes, 85, was it? 75, 80 minutes or whatever it was, in midweek. And obviously he had injury problems before. But he stuck with the team largely, apart from Holding of Saliba, that went and battered Fulham, and you can understand why he did that, and maybe he doesn't feel that Jesus was really ready to start a full 90 yet, or even start and play an hour or 70, because if you don't get that early goal, then it's very hard to feel like you want to take Jesus off when you're needing a goal. So I think having that up your sleeve when you've got an 11 and a front 3 that's worked really well recently, that kind of made sense. And he stuck with Martinelli. I thought he might rest Martinelli because of the amount of football we played in midweek, but no, went with him. And I thought Arsenal were really, really brilliant. It took a while for Arsenal to start creating an abundance of chances. I'd love to see the XG. Actually, I'll go have a little look at it now. I don't think we created that many. Well, I guess, what do you count as that many? We weren't peppering their goal, were we? But you could see that Arsenal looked fluid. The passing, the football was so crisp. We were playing really good, we were interchanging, we were getting in behind a few times, and we were attacking them lots of different ways. We were crossing it into areas quite dangerously, good pace on the cross. Sometimes we were threading it in behind. Sometimes it was just a case of one pass was just cut out or just overhit. But you can see that Arsenal were really in the mood and really in the rhythm. Yeah, I mean, this proves my point. Our XG was only 1.5 according to the XG philosophy. We racked up 2.3, 2.6 against the likes of Liverpool at home and Tottenham at home, Man United 2 point something. So that tells you that actually we didn't fully, pepper Palace's goal. But I felt we always looked like if we just raised it slightly, we would sort of eventually play through them. And the Martinelli goal, it's just brilliant from him, because he holds the width, and when he does start to come inside, he gets that ball, he kind of realises the only way to get a shot off is to drag it onto his left foot. Brilliant strike. And me and my dad, who were at the game, we had the most perfect view of that goal, because where we are, imagine you're the goal line, so you're the goal line but very high up, and then it was scored in the goal down there. So we had a really good view of Martinelli dragging it onto his left and just firing it across goal into the corner. Really, really brilliant goal. Not the first time he's done that this season. It was a near post goal against West Ham that put us 2-1 up. So he's scoring these decisive goals when the game is level and putting us ahead, Martinelli. And actually, again, he was a little wasteful today. Everything, it wasn't perfect, didn't always come off for him, but his work rate is so unbelievable that I'm kind of willing to forgive, not even just because he scores goals and gets assists and his output's brilliant. When he plays a pass he shouldn't, or when he maybe carries the ball too longer than he should, or whether, you know, something doesn't quite come off, or a twist or a turn, he turns into space. You get that with Martinelli's game. But is the fact that he's scoring goals, getting assists, but more so his work rate, I kind of just think it's forgivable, because what he is doing with and without the ball is always trying to make something happen for Arsenal. He's not just waiting for it to happen around him. He really shows initiative and proactiveness, and it's great. I love Martinelli. I really do. I think he's a really, you know, he's developing into not just an output player, because he can run at players and he can do all that, but the fact that he's got, 13 goals, how many assists? Again, I'm going to do a little bit of on-the-spot research. I definitely know it's about 13 goals. Let's have a look. Martinelli. We'll go to Transfermarkt. Always like them for stats. Let's have a look. Stats 2022. Martinelli is brilliant, says Ulf Eriksson. I agree. You were screaming your head off, James, with joy. Absolutely, I was. Oh, so my bad. So it's actually not as many assists as I thought. It's 13 goals, 2 assists in the league, and 13 goals and 3 assists in all competitions. Really good. He's been his output's been absolutely terrific. Tottenham's trophy cabinet with a super chat. I like the name. Compare that to the rubbish Tottenham fans have to watch. Couldn't agree more. Andrea says, side note, Jordan will be happy on Forever Arsenal. He's now leading. Did he go with 4-1? Did he? I went 4-0. Yeah, that was a killer, that Palace goal. J. Which is the biggest waste of a career? Zaha at Palace or Kane at Spurs? Zaha will go down Palace legend, and you know, I think I got to say Kane at Spurs personally. You've got to say Kane at Spurs for me. You've lost your voice, bro. Same here, says Saurav. I absolutely have. Right, we're 12 minutes in. A couple of minutes, we'll start taking calls, and we will see who else is going to join us as well here. I think White deserves man of the match, says Hengedi. James, you have confidence in Holding if Saliba got injured for 6 games, says Dope Traveller. It purely depends on the opposition. A lot of people were really, I'm going to call it out, really over the top stressed about Rob Holding starting this game. If Rob Holding and Saliba is the difference between beating Palace or not, you don't deserve to be Premier League champions. It's as simple as that. Rob Holding isn't as good as William Saliba, but he has stepped in and done largely pretty well. Sure, had a nightmare at Tottenham away last year. A lot of players did. He came in at Sporting and did brilliantly, and he was fantastic again today. And you know, he is the heir to that position when you look at the injuries we've got, and he did really well. So, okay, Anfield, Liverpool away. No, I'm more stressed about that. They've got far more dynamic front three, who I think are going to cause Holding a few more problems. I don't think the high line's going to work quite as well when it's Holding in instead of Saliba. But like I said in my tweet, it's not like we've been, really tight at home anyway. We've conceded goals, we've conceded chances. Palace having a few chances today doesn't surprise me. We need to go and get a few goals. We did. We got 4. We were brilliant. Who do you want most in the song? Says Michael Smith. I'm excited about those Declan Rice links, but we won't go into that too much today. But thank you so much for your super chat. A lot of people giving Rob Holding credit, and rightly so. Just want to touch on the other goals and the rest of the game performances before we take some more calls. Second goal was just, Ben White, I don't think it was Saka's best game. I know he scored 2 goals. I know he did. He's clutch. He's brilliant. Look at the goal against Everton. He wasn't really at his best in that game either. But, threaded in through the lines and just lashes it into the roof of the net. He's developing into a really brilliant finisher, Bukayo Saka. All kinds of goals. Right foot, left foot, from distance, from, tighter areas. Those darts in behind that remind me of how Sterling and Sane used to play under Guardiola. And by the way, who was the assistant manager coaching them in those roles? It was Mikel Arteta. It's not that surprising to see, Bukayo Saka score that kind of goal. Ben White was threading it into him so often. I thought that I don't think the right hand side was almost like at its scintillating best. I actually thought the first 20-30 minutes they were struggling a little bit for it to quite come off. The Odegaard was a little frustrating in some of his performance, some of his passes, but his close control is second to none, as is his work rate. But Ben White then just threads that ball to Saka, and after that there was just a cohesion and a constant fluidity that was absolutely brilliant. White, if he's your man of the match, absolutely fair enough. I thought him, Xhaka, Holding, Partey Partey was absolutely superb today. Thought they were all brilliant, and I haven't even mentioned the front three with Martin and Saka's goals. Saka got 2 goals, and of course that puts him in contention for man of the match. I thought he was absolutely just clinical, killer, just absolute killer in those key areas of the pitch. And then Tierney comes on and gets an assist for Saka as well. And I thought Tierney did really well. Recovery defending was absolutely superb. Came into midfield to do the Zinchenko thing. Wasn't just changing the way that balance would look because of the because of the typical way that he approaches being attacking in the final third. He was superb. Who else? The third goal, Granit Xhaka. Yeah, I mentioned him, and he deserved his goal. And Trossard with another assist. I haven't actually seen the highlights back. I'm going to watch it as we start to get your calls and we get other people to join me here. But was it? Did it come off Xhaka's foot last? Was it a Xhaka goal? Was it an own goal? Let me know. Great to see that Kivior tackle as well, says Tuffy Boy. Completely agree. And then, of course, when they get that goal to make it 3-1, look, I know neutrals are going to think, yeah, well, Arsenal are comfortable here. It's 3, so what? 3-0, they got one back, who cares? That Zaha chance, you think of the goal, and then the 2 Zaha chances, one at 0-0, and then that one as well at 3-1. If that goes into the back of the net, it gets very anxious for Arsenal. But they did well just to weather it slightly, keep playing their football in the right areas of the pitch. What I mean by that is trying to press, not just sitting off and going, well, let's shut up shop and just weather what Palace throw at us. They wanted to press, they wanted to just keep doing their thing, take it to Palace. They got the 4th goal, and it was job done. Could easily have had a 5th or a 6th on the day as well. Right, we're going to take some calls in a sec. There are 4K of you watching. Go hit the like button if you're enjoying this stream. And like I said, first part of this show always going to be dedicated to just a reaction to the match. And now we're going to start taking your calls 16, 17 minutes into this stream. A tweet here from Aaron Catson Reed at Read the Game, saying that Bukayo Saka there is on 22 goals and assists. That's the 3rd highest behind Harry Kane, who's on 23 goals and assists, and Erling Haaland, who's on 33. So Haaland 33, Kane 23, Bukayo Saka 22. That is amazing. But then you've got Ivan Toney on 20, Salah on 18, Rashford on 17, De Bruyne on 16, and then Odegaard, Trossard, Martinelli on 16, 16 and 15 respectively. I mean, the output from the front 3 and 4 and even 5 is unbelievable, because Gabriel Jesus was doing his bit for the injury as well. Okay, say some calls. And don't know if anyone's joining me. Might be doing this solo, but that's fine. We can run it. Right, who have we got? Put the old headphones on. Hello. Earth to production. Have we got any callers?
Sorry, yes.
Oh, yes, we do. KK's joining us. KK, welcome to AFTV Fanzone. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. How are you holding up?
I've lost my voice, so I think that tells you everything.
It's lovely to see. I've been tuned in. Very lovely to see. I saw you at the game.
Yeah, honestly, it was brilliant. Really, really enjoyed it. Look, chance to have your say. What did you make of the performance and the response after Thursday night?
I was very pleased with the boys, to be totally honest. The reason why is because personally, Thursday hit me the wrong way. I personally don't believe in exiting competitions, even if there's a bigger picture to look at. But with that being said, I do kind of understand, because we haven't had a league in a very, very long time. So I would most definitely take it over the Europa. So I'm very pleased though. All in all, I'm very pleased with the boys, because they showed a very convincing performance, according to my eyes. They showed a very convincing performance. And like Ben White, I've been a Ben White fan even when he had his little dip, but he's been sensational. Like today, him and Saka down the right. I was watching also after Michael Owen was touching on it. Him and Saka today on the right were just having fun. And it was so nice to see how the boys. It was so nice to see how the boys were so confident, and how we basically could come back after everybody was starting to say, "Are the wheels falling off?" and so forth.
Yeah, it was a brilliant response, and I agree. I was disappointed about the exit on Thursday night. What did you make of Rob Holding's performance coming in for William Saliba? And there was, let me welcome Guna Lee actually, who's here to join us.
Nice, how you doing, man?
Well, thanks. Nice to see you.
Nice, same to you.
I enjoy your. Sorry to cut you, James. I enjoy your point so much, Kunali. Like, I think you're a very, very honest fan, which I like to see.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
He's a very honest fan. He's a brilliant fan. He was also a bit of a stressed fan about Rob Holding starting. but KK, what was your opinion of his performance?
I think Rob Holding was good from Thursday night, if you ask me, if I'm being totally honest. I think he had a very good, him and Gabriel in the middle. They looked very, very secure on Thursday. But touching on today's game, I think he was very, very good. Zaha was trying to get the better of him a few times, there and there. But I just think, overall, I think he had a very good show out.
Yeah, I agree. KK, an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you guys so much. Stay well.
Before we go to the next caller, Lee, I know you'll have done a fan cam, but I do want to. I'm not trying to call you out or anything. Obviously, you're a much bigger man than me. But Rob Holding, he really stepped up.
He really did step up, and I did mention in my fan cam. Do you know what? Like, I can have my opinion on the player, but when they do well, I always give them the praise that they deserve. And he absolutely was, one of the standout players. I will say that I thought him and Gabriel, they worked well together. But I'm also going to say that it was Crystal Palace. And I think that's kind of maybe fair enough to say. But what he did do is, he marshalled the player who I thought that was going to, really try and, target him. Because I did really think that someone like Zaha would have done a lot better. And I thought Zaha would have been really trying to go at him. But there was a lot of, that kind of gang tackling involved. And I think you saw a real example of that when Ben White and Xhaka kind of ran into each other as well. And I know we conceded from the corner, but prior to that, you saw how well everyone was kind of getting back and chipping in to kind of maybe, alleviate some of the pressure on him. But listen, I don't want to sort of seem like I'm diminishing anything that, Rob Holding did today. I thought he was absolutely top notch. Not only him, quite a few other players, but that's the person who I was most worried about prior to the game. And listen, he's justified and vindicated in his performance today. Yeah,
and I think that's totally fair. Don't get me wrong. If we rock up at Anfield, the way we play, where Liverpool's strengths are, I would worry about Rob Holding starting that game. That's nothing on him. That is just purely where his strengths and his weaknesses are. I don't know if it's as good a fit, but the one thing I'd say is that Palace at home, I never thought Rob Holding should be the difference. I felt if that's the case, then there's something far too wrong with our team. But Arsenal still played the way they wanted to play. I think what I really enjoyed as well, look, I said football's a game of fine margins. Bounce off Emi Martinez's head and it goes in. Bounce off Ramsdale, goes wide. But actually, apart from that chance, I felt we were more secure, really, in terms of the counter-attack and where we allowed them to have the ball. And actually, maybe in the second half, it opened up a little bit more. But at that point, it was kind of job done and it was a bit punch for punch. I really like the way Arsenal approached today.
Yeah. And I can't really disagree more, because I think sometimes, midweek Thursday game, we didn't, have the desire. We didn't have as much fight as we had today. And in truth, actually, that's actually a bit annoying. It's actually annoying me a little bit more, knowing how well we could have played on Thursday. Sporting are exponentially better than the likes of Crystal Palace, but I still think that we could have done a lot more to show out on Thursday. But overall, look, I think the team really thought, you know what, we have to win. It's the last game before the international break. We have to put a performance out, and I think just focused. That was a focused performance where everybody knew from minute one to sort of minute 94, whatever it was, that we had a job to do, and everyone knew their role. And I thought there was a game. This is one of the probably recently one of the clear games that I've seen where there's a game plan, and it kind of was quite obvious to me throughout the game. So look, overall really, really good. Really,
really good. I'm going to ask you before we go to our next caller, who would you give man of the match to? It's tough, isn't it?
Look, we was talking about it on the sofas during the watch along, and talking about at the end of the season, you have to choose 4 players. Well, the club would choose 4 players as the player of the season. I genuinely don't know who would be, but I did choose 4, and then obviously the eventual player of the season for Arsenal. I feel like that today. I think Saka's the most obvious one. But I really, really want to give a shout out to Benny Blanco today. Ben White, I think the development that's, growing on that side. I don't even know why, Ben White isn't for the England team, and why that's not, being looked into, especially with Trent and what he's doing right now. But I would probably have to say Saka, because I think he got the 2 goals and an assist, which I keep forgetting he got an assist. And I thought he was menacing, especially in the first half. He didn't really get as much support, but I felt like he was starting to grow into the game, and he was doing a lot more, some cutting in a lot more, and trying to have shots. And I don't know, there was something about his game where you can't see it on the stat sheet.
I'm with you on Ben White, and you're right, you can't see it on the stat sheet, apart from the goals and the assists, but I know what you mean. He always looked a threat. He was hugging the touchline. I've got a controversial opinion. I didn't actually think Saka was that good today. I know that sounds mad. He got two goals and assists, so aka he was good. He obviously was good, because he got the output he needed. But I think what I mean is, in terms of absolutely owning his fullback and sort of, I mean, maybe he did. Maybe I'm being harsh. I think I'm so used to he's hit a level, right? And I don't think he got to that level today. But do I care? Absolutely not, because other players did hit that level. Xhaka was back to his best today, and he got goals and assists anyway, so who cares? And look, this very much is a case of me overthinking it. Look, the guy stepped up with, you know, massive moments today, and always looked dangerous. I just felt the things he was trying didn't always come off, that's all. But that's fine, because he's brilliant.
So who would you have given it to?
White. My 4 best players were White, Holding, Partey and Xhaka. I think probably White, just because that guy has to drop in and help defend Zaha, and then get forward and overlap. And then if he can't overlap, he's got to tuck in and then be a playmaker, which is what he did for Saka's goal. It's unbelievable.
I think,
the amount
do you know
he
what?
does.
And I'm sure we're going to move on to the callers, but I think the only thing when I think about man of the match is you were that difference maker. And I think, yes, Ben White was absolutely out of this world. His performance alone was out of this world. But when you think about the person where that person's putting the team on their back, Saka's doing that. And he's not the best player on the team. I believe Jesus is the best player, but he's stepping up. And that's why I feel like he has to have it. You know, maybe by default even. I don't know, but yeah.
But also, a lot of people go, when they're talking about performances, you know, like when Ronaldo was scoring goals, they go, yeah, but what else is he doing? Like, you know, when they go down that area. But the thing I'd say about the goals is goals take quality to score as well. And this isn't, he was at the back post to tap it in. It's a brilliant run. Stay on side, time it. Because a lot of through balls and goals like that, they're out to in. And what I mean by that is, so White will be here, Marte will be here, Saka, and he runs in like that towards goal. So for White to be the wider player, I think he is, and I need to watch it back, but from where I saw it, looked like White was the wider player.
He was,
and then he threaded it towards goal into Saka. It's so intricate, it's so brilliant. Takes in his stride and
with
finishes
a cultured finish. That's what I think. The cultured finish is literally almost, you can see it's almost bending around the keeper. It was almost a bit like the Matrix, where the ball literally is moving around his arm, and he's like, the keeper's just trying to reach, but he's just not long enough. He's not tall enough, so his arms can't reach.
And Saka's second goal, which is Arsenal's 4th, is that just kills any whatever nerves there could have been. Zaha nearly scored before.
There you go.
We get away with that a little bit. I think 3-2 would have really flattered Palace, if I'm honest. I thought we were so good for a lot of it. But we go, cool, rode our luck, 4th, job done. So fair play to Bukayo Saka. People saying, maybe it wasn't his best, but he was incredibly efficient and clutches, I think, an even more complimentary word. Because,
and I think when we were on the sofa, we was talking to Aaron. He plays football, so he even said how difficult that second finish was from Saka. I think when you actually look at it, the ball was actually
not easy at all.
Quite driven into him, and he just slaps it in, like, almost like nonchalant kind of thing. Like, I know that's going. I know where I'm putting it.
He just re-guides it. He goes, I don't need to put anything behind this ball. I need to go. It's coming this way. I want to put it that way.
There you go. And it just really it felt like quite effortless from quite a difficult decision. So
Well, 4-1 winners. Let's get some more thoughts. Who else have we got to join us on the amazing Fanzone? If we do, I'm waiting for production in my ear. Brennan, are you there?
I think he might be talking to somebody.
We'll keep talking. Until we're ready to get people on. Lord London says White was the best player today. White pocketed Zaha. I love this. Arm just goes, we are so good. And I'm like, we are very good.
You know what? I'm going to say another undercover player then if we're waiting for someone else to come in. And I thought he will definitely not stand out in any metric, I don't believe. But someone who I really thought was had an outstanding performance. And I was looking at him very carefully. And the reason why, and I'll tell you why in a second, is Gabriel Magalhaes. And I think because I was quite nervous with what I saw from Holding prior, what I thought I was going to see, Gabriel just held off a little bit. He kind of just allowed Holding to maybe do his couple of things that he likes to do. He liked to be more of a front foot defender, and I thought Gabriel just mopped up. He almost reminded me like, yeah, and you know what? I'm the younger brother, and I'm gonna have a fight. But I've got my older brother who's the big guy behind me, and he's just gonna anything. If I lose that fight, if I'm losing, he's just gonna move out the way, bang. Yeah. I'm gonna flick my enemy away, and that's it. So
completely agree.
Yeah.
We're gonna get some more callers. Just before we do, a reminder that Arsenal have now matched last season's 22 wins and 69 points tally.
Madness.
They've done it in
10 games less.
10 games less.
Yeah, and this is the first time in Arteta's reign that he's got 6 wins in a row in the Premier League.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, fair play. That doesn't feel like that long ago that we just had that blip.
There. I mean, it doesn't feel that long ago until it was Arteta out.
I know.
So
things change quickly in football.
They do.
22 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats, 66 goals scored. That is 1 goal fewer than Man City. That actually puts the goal difference as us only 2 behind them. So the amount of goals we've been scoring recently is doing us a massive favour. 69 with 30 more points to play for. What will we end up on? Just for context, we are 20 points ahead of Tottenham Hotspur, who are having a bit of a shocker.
Do you want to see an even more interesting one?
Go on.
How many more points are we ahead of Chelsea? Go down a little bit.
Yeah. Scroll. The answer is 31.
There you go, 31.
That's more points than there are left to play for this season.
Listen, and
Chelsea can't. No, they played a game less, so Chelsea can still mathematically finish ahead of us. But
fair.
They're one game.
I mean, we've got to play them, so I think we're going to beat them. So probably not.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Okay, let's do it. Let's get some callers. Who's next to join us? We have Tony. Let's welcome Tony.
Nice.
Tony, how you doing?
Hey, you alright?
Hi.
How's it going?
Over the moon. Take it away.
Calm, cool, assured performance.
It was. Really good response.
Just a shame on the clean sheet aspect, but otherwise, fairly straightforward game.
We were having a man of the match debate. Who did you go for in there? Saka?
Saka, I went for Saka.
I went for White. Where are you? Maybe someone completely different. Maybe Rob Holding. Who have you gone for?
I think Saka. Didn't have the greatest of games, but sometimes you can get that. But he did what he needed to do. He got his 2 goals and slightly went under the radar a little bit, but he done enough just to pick it for me. Yeah,
it's exactly how I feel. Great shout for man of the match because of his output and how decisive he was with key goals. But I also didn't think he had his best game. So yeah, you're right. Let's talk about the title race a little bit because. Look, we know the situation. We're 8 points clear. I don't actually like using the term clear because they play a game. We're 8 points ahead of them. They've got that game still to play. But they've got to play it knowing that Arsenal have already stamped their points on the board and that they've got an FA Cup semi-final, which of the draw is quite soon, by the way, so we'll keep an eye on that.
I think it's happened.
You think it's happened?
I think it's happened already.
Okay, I'll have a little look.
Man United have Brighton.
Oh, okay.
Man City, I'm not sure who they've got.
So where are you with kind of Man City's fixture schedule and how it's placed, how the league's been placed for us now, with 10 games to go?
I think we just have to apply pressure. Psychologically, it will play a big advantage for us. City are a good team, don't be wrong, but psychologically, when they look after the international break, when they look and think, oh my God, Arsenal 8 points clear, it adds that little edge to it, that they need to win. And sometimes when you go into a game as City, needing to win, and as they've shown this season, that they don't always win when they need to win, if that makes sense.
Yep, I hear you.
You know, I wanted to ask you as well, my man. You know, I think you spoke about applying pressure on Man City, or obviously us winning applies pressure on Man City. But do you not think that this team, and I always refer to the 08-09 Man United team when they had Berbatov, Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez on their front line. These are probably the two worst teams that you want hunting us down. So, how important do you think this game is? This game in hand that they're going to have, because I think that. Do you not think that they're just going to take it all in their stride because they've done it? They've had previous over the last 4 years where they've won 3 league titles. I think one of them was quite easy, and then the other 2 by 1 point each. So, how important do you kind of look at it in terms of this extra game that we've got currently so far?
I think we just have to do what we have to do on our end. And I would say City doesn't look the same this season. Pep is rotating a lot. Maybe he's got the Champions League in mind. I think the Champions League is actually more important in their mind, or to them, than the actual league. Not that they don't want to win the league, but to how they're operating, they don't seem as sharp and as clinical as before in past seasons to me. So to me, it's like, if they win, their behavior is, if we win the league, we win the league. Yes, we want to be in it to win it, but the Champions League for us is more important. That's how I see them looking at it, basically.
I think you're spot on, Lee. They're so used to taking all this into their stride. I mean, even last year they were on for a treble. Cool, they only came out with the one, but only. It's the one that we desperately want. Absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us on AFTV Fanzone.
All right, nice one. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one, yeah?
Who is next to join us? Just remember the F1's on. Do you like F1? Yeah. Phil? Phil, how you doing?
Over the moon.
Rightly so. What in particular is it? The performance, the result, the points tally on City? Is it all of it? What is it? What's standing out for you?
It's a bit of everything. It's a bit of everything. It's a bounce back from obviously Thursday, which I'm not too disheartened about. I really ain't. 19 years without a Premier League trophy. It's our turn.
But it's 30 years without a European trophy, though. So how do you feel about that one?
I would rather concentrate on the Premier League first, and we concentrate on Europe next year. We get a better squad depth. We get something that can challenge for obviously the Champions League, because we have a good team. They've got a brilliant mentality about them, but will they be able to bounce back from a defeat from the likes of Barcelona and then still challenging for the Premier League title? It's a hard one.
Well, I think also people are saying, well, how are you going to cope next year when every game is a opponent of Sporting's level, if not better, maybe slightly worse. But I think the answer to that is, we're not going to be having this is our Premier League first 11 and these are the players that play in Europe or the games we don't want them to play. The idea is that next season, we actually don't know if Saka's going to start the league game because there might be another player who's able to slot in. We don't know if it's going to be Jesus because it could be Trossard. We don't know if it's going to be Partey because maybe we've signed Declan Rice, as the rumours say that we might. So I think that's the idea, that other games against teams, with all due respect, maybe 13th, 14th or lower in the table, we rotate a little bit there and we rotate a little bit here, and then you sort of tick along. Do you think we're going to get it done? Do you think we're going to win the league?
Without a doubt. Pep Guardiola keeps making comments. Arteta makes sure he responds, and the more comments he makes, the more Arteta is going to respond. And to bring the goal difference tally back as well to only 2, that's true. A major difference. That is a massive gap to close, and we've managed to do it. They've managed to do it.
That's a really good point.
And you know what? I'm so glad with the way Martinelli played as well, that it hasn't affected him missing that penalty. I'm so glad he got that goal, not just for himself, but for the club and for the fans, because he's shown them, look, that's not affected me.
And actually, I didn't go into the game thinking that much about the Martinelli. I wasn't thinking, oh, but you're right. Some people might have been, or more importantly, he might have been. But the fact that he got the first goal, like they're the important. Football is so overanalyzed, partly because of people like me, which is my bad. But it's the fact that sometimes players are criticised saying, well, are you getting the important goals? Are you getting the goals that put us 1-0 up? Are you getting the goals that at 2-2 you've got the winner? But that first goal is always so crucial, especially when you're against an organised Palace back four. And it was massive. Was he, where did he rank amongst your men in the match?
Oh, it's a hard one. It's got to be like the fifth, I would say, because there was a few good players there.
Yeah,
you've got Rob Holding. That's got to be the best I've ever seen Rob Holding play for a very long time.
For a long time, I agree.
Ben White, Granit Xhaka, Bukayo Saka, and then Martinelli himself. Who do you pick?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And do you know what? It's funny because we, again, going back to the whole who's the best player, I know he didn't have much to do and I know he conceded a goal, but that save from Zaha, because he actually was a save. I don't know if you've seen it on the replay. That was a world-class save. I know, yes, it could have ricocheted anywhere, like the Martinez kind of incident that happened against Aston Villa, but he makes these great saves.
Does he? He gets a touch on that, does he?
Yeah, he gets a touch on it.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
He gets a touch on it, hits the post, and then it kind of ricochets off for a corner. But
fair enough then.
It's just, it's funny that we never ever actually kind of put him in a position higher, but maybe it's because we just play so well going forward, and the defenders play so well. Maybe that's the reason why. But he's been he's another one.
Do you know what? He's another player that's excelling. I mean, that last pass he made to
Saka, I think.
Saka,
What an absolute spot that was! How many keepers in Premier League can do that?
Unbelievable kick. Yeah,
I tell you what, Lloris can't.
That is for sure.
Well,
Phil,
that's why I wear this shirt and not one.
Yeah. Good.
Absolute pleasure chatting to you, Phil. Thank you so much for joining us.
Enjoy your day.
And
you. Let's go to Larry next. Larry, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. Let me just am I moving it the right way?
No.
Yeah.
There we go.
Right way now?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Take it away.
You ask the question, James, I want to compliment both of you.
Thank you.
Again, I love your tactical insight and also the Forever Arsenal.
Oh, thank you.
And Gunnar Lee, I like your post-game analysis because you leave emotion out.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, to be a good commentator and analyze games. You have to leave emotion out. And when you do that, you generally make sense and your points are poignant.
Thank you.
I appreciate that.
No, we really, really appreciate it. But you have some brilliant points as well, and that's why Fanzone exists. So, look, what's your standout thought? What is at the very front of your brain that you're like, this is what stands out to me from this game?
We had to win. We was under pressure to win. I mean, sure, it's nice to be pretty, 4-1, 4-0, 1-0. We had to win. The boys' legs were heavy. They played 120 minutes, a lot of them. It was a short turnaround. So what Arsenal team were you going to see out on the field today? And so, they took a little while to get going because, I mean, as a runner, I used to do a lot of running, you have lactic acid and you have to get that out of your legs feel heavy. But once they got into the rhythm, and I was happy for Martinelli because, of course, he missed that penalty in the shootout. He got the first goal. So I know that was psychologically important for him,
Larry, sorry. When you're done, I'll ask you a question because I think you made a good point about something, but I'll ask you afterwards. Sorry.
Sure. So the win, James, Gunnar Lee, the win. And it was nice that we got some goals. You see the goal difference is 2 now between us and City. So it was nice, and because we make so many chances, if we can just put them away, a higher percentage of putting those chances away, my goodness, there's no telling, we would probably be ahead of City in goal difference. However, we're doing well and an important victory today.
Yeah, I agree. The screen's cut. Has it? Or
Hello.
Yeah, oh, you can hear us now. Hello. You see us.
Yeah.
Sorry, it came up with a thumbnail for a second, so we thought, so they've wrapped up. That's what they're doing. Got it.
Do you know what? So, I wanted to ask you, Larry, you made such a great point, and I'm sorry for interrupting you. I thought you had finished. But I wanted you to talk on Mikel Arteta, because, you talk about the fact that, yes, we did play 120 minutes against Sporting on Thursday, and talk about the management, because he made some really good subs, in my opinion, and I thought he made them actually more so at the right time. So I think, for me, look, people have laughed and joked and ridiculed him. I mean, they ridiculed him about his hair. I wish I had hair. I mean, I don't know how that works.
Wait, who's this they ridicule?
Arteta. They ridicule him. I'm like, I don't get it. But listen, I think, I'm not going to say he's world class, because he's not, but I genuinely do believe that he's entering into a position where he's leveling up. Let's just say that. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think on him as a manager right now?
Okay, very quickly. I thought he was a rookie pilot when he took over and he was given the head of Arsenal 3 years ago. I thought, we had a luxury liner in Arsenal FC, and we got a rookie pilot. And of course, I was extremely disappointed. 2 eighth place finishes.
Yeah,
and then a 5th. But he got the Concretes extended his contract before we were known whether we would make the Champions League or not. Remember that? Mm-hmm. It was done. It was a done deal.
You're right.
So I said to one of my Arsenal fans, I have to get over being angry that he's, I just have to accept now he's going to be our coach going forward. And as my Arsenal fan always says, Arteta doesn't have his players, and now Arteta has the majority of his players. Xhaka was there before, but he loves Xhaka. He's given him so many lifelines, and he's come good this season and even last season. And so all his signings now are on him. So, and he's getting the players to play for him like the way he wants, a former disciple of Pep. And so we're now seeing the fruits of what he envisioned. You heard the dressing room in the back. In the dressing rooms, a lot has changed. He mentioned that one of the former Arsenal players mentioned that wow, he went and he has different signs up and different all psychology to motivate and give and create that atmosphere of winning. And so with the additions of Jesus and Zinchenko, who have been in a winning regime for 3-4 years, they brought that to Arsenal. We have that bit of experience to glean on. And so, well done to Arteta.
Yeah.
Well done. My only disappointment with him in the game we lost, which I was disappointed, was he left Vieira on too long. He should have subbed him at the half and brought on Odegaard, But hey, it's history now. That's you live and learn. Hopefully, he's learning by his mistakes, but he's definitely doing a much better job of his subs and and time management than obviously last season and of course the seasons before that. So have to give him props, give him a lot of props. My respect for him has grown, and he's doing, great things. I just don't want him to be blind. Sometimes you have blind faith in a person. Like, I don't think Vieira is there yet. And Ketty, I don't think he's there yet. A lot of Arsenal fans may not like my comments. I watch team sport for years and years, and I know I've seen what it takes to be at the elite level. And in the summer, Arsenal will have to strengthen with quality players if we want to not just participate in the Champions League, but be a force, in there. Because if we have a weak bench, look at this, think about this. It could affect our league play next year from the Champions League. And injuries is a part of it, hey? You're not guaranteed to be fit for 38 games.
Yeah, very true.
What's the saying? You're as strong as your weakest link.
Mm-hmm. Larry, absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks. Thank you.
Let's bring Stephen and Alexander in. Hey,
James. How you doing? Lee Gunner.
Yeah. How you doing? I'm good, man. How you doing?
I said,
James, you've been having some.
Go on.
Go ahead. I say you've been having some controversial takes, and since Lee Gunner just mentioned something about hair, let me have a controversial take as well. I think he didn't want holding playing because Holding is showing him up, growing a new locks of hair.
No,
and he's got a bald head.
No, man, it's that. Listen. Larry just said before, you're as strong as your weakest link. So I'll leave it there. Let's say that.
He was very good today.
He was, though. He was.
You guys were our last caller on a disappointing Thursday night, and I asked you both.
Yes.
Are Arsenal going to respond? I very rarely come with chest into Arsenal predictions and stuff, but I said yes, 4-0. I was wrong by a goal. But we got that. Were you expecting that?
No, what? To be quite honest, I thought Arteta was going to insist to the boys that this was very important. You get a 2-week break after this. You lose this game, especially on the back of exiting a European competition, and the doubts just stew into the team. And, you start really thinking, do we really have the mettle for this? So I thought it was very important for us to get this win. I figured they were going to go all out for it, especially with Crystal Palace getting rid of their manager, which the timing just seemed off. I really thought that we were going to get it. I didn't know if it was going to be this emphatic, to be quite honest. What do you think, Alexander?
The whole season we've been answering texts. The Man City game, when we lost that, we came back, and now we've won 6 in a row. When we lost to United, we didn't get into a terrible run of form. So we've been doing that the whole season. And you're right, if we lost that game, heads are starting to drop because it's not looking good. And two weeks without playing a game, now City have a game in hand on us, and just start lingering in. They're a better team than us. So I think it was good that we won this game, and it feels good to beat Crystal Palace, especially after them sacking our man Vieira. So it felt good.
Yeah, it did. And the Emirates crowd were singing the Vieira chant, as you'd imagine they would. I thought Arsenal looked incredibly professional today. They did not look like a team that were realising that they were coming to the end of not the end of the title race, but we're now well in that last sort of quarter. They didn't look like a team that were that bothered by it, that they'd lost on midweek, and that was on their mind. They just went and did what they were doing. But where's that mentality change? Because last year, Arsenal struggled to go 4 wins on the bounce. They struggled to they had runs at times, but they struggled to show this level of maturity and mentality. So who do you put that down to?
Yeah, James, you have to give it to the manager. First of all, the man management today was excellent. Not getting too excited and not panicking, and insisting on starting Gabriel Jesus. And then look at all the subs that came in, realizing that Zinchenko had played 120 minutes, bringing in Kieran Tierney, who I think for those 35 minutes that he came in was absolutely magnificent.
Agreed.
And even when it comes down to introducing Kiwior, to the Arsenal stadium, he didn't have a very good start to his Arsenal career. But, I thought, the Arsenal fans, the Gunners in the stadium are also, they showed the class as always, because they gave him a rapturous applause. At least that's what we heard on TV. And, that's really going to get him, excited. And with these injuries that are occurring, you never know. Kiwior might be somebody who has to step up. So I thought the man management was really good, and I have to give it to Mikel Arteta for really instilling this mentality to the team.
I completely and utterly agree. I thought the subs were brilliant because, look, not every game has to be stress and every minute counts. He realised we were 4-1 up. Let's give the minutes. I mean, our back four was Partey, Holding, Kiwior, Tierney. That was our finishing back four. Which just shows you. What did you make of the subs quickly?
Do you know what? I was going to ask you guys as well. So in this studio, we were talking about it, and for Kiwior to get an actual Premier League's medal, and not I think it was like a team silver. It's not a replica, but it's I know what you mean. There's a specific thing you get. Because you're part of the squad. Do you think that Kiwior will get enough games? So he needs to play 5 league games to receive that medal. So do you think?
So hard.
Yeah, I know, and I felt so bad for him because I was just thinking to myself, he's going to be part of the squad. He played in Europa League. Is he going to get enough game time to actually? To get to receive an actual Premier League medal. So do you think that he will, because he has to play another 4 games and we only have what is it, 9 left?
10 left.
10 left, sorry, apologies. And there are some there's some tricky games in there that he's probably not going to play. So yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
You know, it's tough because we're chasing a title, and you know we want to play the best team that can get us the 3 points. However, I would like to see more of Kiwior. I don't think his first game was the Kiwior we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, I agree.
I really think that he has some potential, and so we're going to have to unleash it. But it's going to be tough when we're not going to be having the Europa League, just 10 more games to go in the league, and we just need to put the best team that can get us the 3 points at the end of the day. So it's going to be tough for him. But I do kind of feel bad for him. But it's professional sports.
I just think it's.
I think if we have these performances where you're 2 up, 3 up, then he has a chance, because then you can come in, you can actually go ahead and say, hey, this guy is going to need a medal. Let's go ahead and put him in for the last 10, 15 minutes. Let's rest one of the midfielders or something like that. That might be his best option. So. I like this. I like when we get the leads and now just settling down into the game and can be professional about it. It's a much more comfortable way. As exciting as the results where we nick it in the last minute are, it's kind of enjoyable also just winning the game. I mean, the timing of our goals today was magnificent. You score right when Crystal Palace was kind of like settling and thinking that maybe they can get out of this, and then right before halftime you score again. And then you come into the second half, and again you just press them, and we should have actually scored probably within the first minute of the second half. So the mentality is right. Whatever Arteta said at halftime was the right thing. So
it's crazy. I mean, how many appearances has Reece Nelson made in the league?
I believe
3,
one
2?
One against Nottingham Forest, one against Bournemouth. Yep,
that's it.
He came on
against Fulham. So 3. So say he picks up an injury, right? And we win the league by 2 points.
He might not get.
He might not get a winner's medal, and it's his 98th minute goal that won us the title. So
you see how they were celebrating it, James. I think everybody feels involved in the team and the success of the team.
Completely
I see even El Neni. El Neni comes at the end of every game. You see him on screen cheering the rest of the team. I think they've built it such that everybody's feeling like they're a part of this success, and so winners medal or not, you know that you're a part of it. So
completely and utterly agree. It is always a pleasure to chat to you both.
By the way,
always a pleasure, James. Come on up the Arsenal.
Just
Come
to let you know,
boys,
he's played 4 games in the Premier League, so he's got one more game.
Oh, he's one away.
One more. So
there you go. Nelson's one away. See you in a bit, guys. Who's next? We've got 3 callers. Who have we got? DJ SK's here.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. Good, James. All good, Lee Gunner.
Yes. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Just before I dive into any analysis, this one was for Patrick Vieira and for all the mothers celebrating Mother's Day today.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, absolutely. And you're right, this was for Patrick Vieira. Put it in the preview title. I thought it was a disgraceful sacking, if I'm honest. But yeah, we did our thing.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that game today, Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, 21 years of age. When are we going to start realising that these guys are just generational talents?
You called him world class.
Yeah. Listen, I was just about to ask you, do you think he's world class? I genuinely do think that you can't look past him being world class now. You look at the stats. Now, I'm not a huge stat man. Now, that might actually irk you because I know my man next to me, James, is a stats man, and I'm sure tomorrow's show that comes out with Graham, there's going to be a whole host of stats. But I look at the stats, but I just see what do my eyes tell me? If I pluck him out of Arsenal and I plop him into another team, in any team in the world, he does the same thing, and maybe he might do more. But I just think the versatility is one thing, but he's now owning that right wing spot, and I think that's a difference. Before we were so happy that we was like, yeah, he's so good, he can play left back, he can play 8, he can play 10, he can play right, left. But I think now he's an absolute menace, and he's getting doubled and triple teamed, and there's just for me, I just think it's just unfounded now. Like, you look at the player and you see the numbers. I think before today or something like that, he had the what was it, like he scored every goal this season was either an equaliser or game winner.
Wow,
you know,
is that right?
you're looking at the importance of him and the goals that he's scoring today. I just think, all in all, like, he's just an absolute treat and a gem of a player. So I do think he's world class. Yeah,
world class.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way people can't call Bukayo Saka world class. He's, you know, as Lee Gunnar was saying, the importance of his goals. He scores crucial goals for Arsenal. You know, he's 21 years of age. He can go on his left, he can go on his right. Defenders are scared when Saka picks up the ball. So there's no way people cannot call him world class now. He's proved it time and time again. Just look at his numbers this season. I mean, I think Haaland's got more goals and assists this season in the Prem than Saka. So there's no way people can't call him world class talent.
He was brilliant. DJ, an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you for joining us on Fanzone.
Thank you.
Pleasure, man.
We've got Harvey in. Just as we get Harvey in, hey Harvey, how are you doing? This super chat from 40 side says Martinelli's work rate is ridiculous. He sprints back to the ball just as fast as he does running at goal. Leaves it all on the field every game. That's why I don't always want to get as onto him when he gets things wrong, because there's working hard and then there's what he does. It's like another level.
Add in there to Xhaka as well. I think sometimes people be harsh on him, but defensively, say what you want about him sometimes going forward. I think Xhaka's he's an absolute beast going back. So
yeah, very true. Harvey, great to see you. How are you? It's back. Okay,
Lee, very happy with the win today.
So we're having a few connection issues.
Very happy with the win today.
Okay, we are having connection issues, but it is coming through, just slightly delayed. So I'm going to let you take it away, and it will come through.
Yeah, man, no worries about it. It's every now and then, you know, it'll act up. But yeah, man, just very happy with the win in general. One thing that I was very, very surprised to see, and as you know, I've sort of been a bit critical of the team in the past. It's where I've always said that we have to be able to ask different questions of defense. And sometimes when we can't, you know, just walk the ball into the goal, we got to be able to, you know, deliver crosses, do cutbacks, put balls in dangerous areas. And today we saw everything. We saw our wingers drive to the byline and go for the cutback. We saw low-driven crosses, you know, across the 6-yard box. We saw crosses in from deep. We saw crosses in from the corner flag. We saw sometimes first-time crosses from, you know, either fullback. I even saw Partey trying to deliver one in from deep to that far back post. Today we saw that, I think, for the first time this season, and we saw it was just this relentless wave after wave after wave after wave that Crystal Palace just can't handle. So sometimes even when it's, let's say, not a clear and obvious chance, forcing a defender to have to make a good clearance or to make sure that they don't give a foul away is a way of creating danger. And eventually you pin them back, you create unpredictability, and then next thing you know, you're clear on through a little cutback goal, or Saka breaks in between the lines because it's no longer predictable. So we saw that today in the first half especially, so I was very, very happy with that, since I've been very critical of it in the past.
Do you think the performance we saw today vindicated the point those were making, you know, that this team, no matter what we think of the Europa League, they were always going to show a different intensity in the Premier League, whether we think that's right or not? I personally believe that maybe you can't really do anything about it, you know, because of what we are going for in the league. But Arsenal just went up gears today, didn't they?
Yeah, James, but you know what? Like I played competitive sports over here in the US, travel all over the country playing baseball, believe it or not. And man, it would happen all the times. And when we would face a, you know, below average team that wasn't even ranked, we'd kind of like go through the motions, and then all of a sudden we're losing the game. And it's like, okay, well, let's actually, you know, put in the effort now. And then you play a team that's ranked, and like everyone goes up a level. Like as an athlete, you know when you're playing a team of quality and when you need to bring it up, and we're playing in a competition that really matters. And then sometimes you sort of drop the levels and you expect the talent to be enough and you don't put in as much effort. And that's what happens. And it's unfortunately, you know, athletes are susceptible to that, but that's also why elite teams, and Guardiola says all the time, that when you win trophies, you have to make sure that you bring new guys in, because it's very easy to go through the motions and to just, you know, not play with that same intensity. And you see that's a very natural thing amongst athletes.
Yeah, completely.
I was going to say, Harvey, can you? I don't know if you can hear me fully, but you know, you spoke about earlier on about
I can. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, perfect. You spoke earlier on about, you know, the way that we will constantly, you know, crossing the ball in and the cutbacks. Do you think that would maybe lean more towards Tierney getting some more game time? Because for me, the reason why I really, really love Tierney is the fact that, similar to Ben White actually, whenever he crosses the ball into the box, there's a purpose. And you know, the way he cuts the ball back, you saw it today. That wasn't by luck. That is designed on the training field. And whether it's Saka, whether it was Xhaka, whether it was Odegaard, someone's going to be there. So I just think that what he brings is something which obviously Zinchenko doesn't. And that's not to say Zinchenko's poor, because he's a game changer. He's probably one of the players of the season for Arsenal. But I just think you can now, hopefully Arteta can utilise him more and, you know, allow him to do what you're talking about, because I think that's a really poignant point. Well, a good point, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think moving forward now for these remaining 10 fixtures, Tierney needs to be worked into this side. I'm not saying we replace him for Zinchenko, but I think I've always trusted Rob Holding in one-off games. I think he's proven that in FA Cup finals and semifinals that in one-off games he can deliver. It's been when he's played multiple games that the lack of quality and consistency has shown. But I think that, you know, given that, you know, we've been playing a bit more of a conservative 3-2-5 in build-up, and sometimes you see Gabriel being so high and wide on that left-hand side, I think Kieran can slot in to that Gabriel spot and just shift Gabriel to the left-hand side, since he always ends up in more central positions in build-up either way. Him being left-footed shouldn't cost him too much. And I think it's a great way of putting our best players in the 11. So, you know, Benny Blanco with Gabriel and Tierney, the bags, and Zinchenko and Partey doing that two-man pivot in the front, 5 guys in the front, I think allows us to be very, very, very not only effective but fluid. And you saw that recovery run from Kieran Tierney today when the guy was 1v1 against the goalkeeper. So I think with Saliba being out, he slots in perfectly without having to move things around, and just make sure that we have, you know, the best quality players on the pitch to make sure that we can see this title through. Yeah, agreed. Harvey, I hope we do see it through, but still 10 to go. Pleasure chat to you, Harvey, as always.
Cheers, man.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, guys, enjoy your weekend. Bye.
And now, thank you, and you. And now we've got Elliot to round it off. How are we, Elliot?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Very good.
All good.
James, Gunnar Lee, let us take this in. Let's take this day in. Because, you know, a lot of people wanted to see our demise. They wanted to see our end. We proved them wrong. So we stand here at this stage before the international break and realize that these other teams are starting to panic. They're going through their 7 stages of grief. Let's relive them: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance and hope, and processing fear, processing grief. And we're realizing that they're near the end of those stages. We realize that Arsenal are in control. And they have to get used to that. You have to get used to that for the next many years, because this team is young and ready to go. We did away with the Crystal Palace side that did away with our hero, Mr. Vieira himself.
Yeah.
He it was serendipity to see it, you know, just pass through them, and to see to see Zaha flop about like a floundering fish, asking ourselves to pity them in their misery, but we wanted to root them in the mud because they did away with our hero. They did away with our star. So I say today is a magnificent day. 3-point collecting is always magnificent, ladies and gentlemen. But let us understand, we are 10 games away from the summit. We are 10 games away from the peak. The hate will come, gentlemen. The hate will come from all sides. From all sides. We have to galvanize our spirit. We have to be together now as one, because the league does not want us here.
No.
Let that be said. The league does not want us here.
I think some do.
Yeah,
really? I don't know.
Apparently Man United fans, because they obviously don't want Man City to do the 3-peat.
But I don't believe any of them. I think they're saying that, but deep down I don't think they want Arsenal to win it, which I kind of get.
They don't. But
I mean,
this process was supposed to be a flash in the pan. It was supposed to be boom and bust. It hasn't proven to be. And they are scared, they are mad, they are angry. And that is fine. That is fine by us. We understand that this is going not to the next level, but to the top. To the top level. We're back in the penthouse suite, guys. And there are going to be some eviction notices coming to for many a team. For many a team. And it does my heart such joy to hear that a lot of managers and like Conte from the dark side of Seven Sisters are going to be done away with. When they said themselves that we have a world-class manager, there's no way Arteta could beat him. Well, that was proven wrong, wasn't it? Oh well. Let us all just take this in before we go into our international break. 8 points ahead of a team that's considered a machine. And understand that we sit in a lofty place, a place that everybody would love to be in.
I feel
and
like
realize that we are gonna. Yes. I'm sorry.
No. I feel like I'm being like hypnotized into it. Do you know what I mean? Like any doubt I had that we were going to win the league, you're just convincing me even more. Like, do you know what I mean?
It feels like a sermon. I feel like I'm in church.
It is a sermon. You are in church. You are in Arsenal's church, and the church site is the Emirates. Come in, sit among the pews, and understand and realize that we welcome you with open arms. With open arms, people. Here they are.
I'm here.
With open arms. Come in.
Listen, I'm right with you, my guy. I'm here. I'm there.
Whatever phrase you want to use, trusting the process, here for the ride, whatever it is, I'm here. Elliot, it's always a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you.
Billy, James, up the Gunners.
Up the Gunners, mate. Come on.
Take pride in the place we sit in, and let us all drink it in. And drink the hate from others, and realize we only reach out to them with love. Love of our team, love of our side, love of our process. And understand that we stand in a very, very enviable position. And we only mean good things for all.
That was good.
Thank you so much.
Good, man. I feel I've been like baptized. I feel good, man.
I feel like I need to just go and sort of stare at the league table for an hour and sort of take it all in. What I will say, there's a long way to go, and I know I'm a hypocritical idiot who keeps contradicting himself. 10 games isn't very much, but it's a lot of points, and I think what I mean by that is it's going to fly by, but there is so much to play for in that time period that's going to fly by. My dad, I loved chatting football with him, and I was at the game with him today. He was kind of saying something, and I agree with him that it doesn't even have to really go that wrong for Arsenal to not win the league. That's what's crazy. You could lose at the Etihad, that can happen, and then you draw at Anfield, normally a good result. But if they win all their other games, they won the league. Like, that's the thing, it doesn't have to go that wrong. So I think listen, I love how everyone's feeling. I'm not here to drag anyone down, but I almost want to say it with a more positive angle, which is, if we don't win it, don't think that this team is a group of bottlers. Don't think that was our one chance. We heard it all last year. If you don't get top 4 this year, when are you going to get it? We're walking it. We're absolutely walking it. We're more on course for it than Man City right now. And I think this is where I think it's also not just going, oh, we're doing so well, but like, it has to deliver this year, it's got to deliver. It doesn't have to. We are on a journey that for the last 2 seasons we've only got better and better, more impressive. I think everyone can see more and more what the team's trying to do. And then, okay, if it doesn't go up in this year, you add more players, you go again. And then it won't be about just winning the league, because I think people kind of see winning the Premier League as the culmination of everything in this process. It's not for me. If we win this league, I want to win another one. And then I want to win a Champions League. And then I want to, and that's why there is still so much to play for. It's not just about these last 10 games. There's a much bigger picture and a much longer journey for this group.
100%. And, you know, like, I'm going to probably upset a few fans, but luckily there are no more fans to call in, so I'm going to say it anyway. I actually do think that I can see us losing both those big games, but I think Man City are going to drop points, and I think Man City are going to drop a few points, and the reason why is I just don't trust them in the Premier League, and that's over the last 28 games or whatever.
Yeah, it's not the last 5 years.
It's not just like it is literally just this season. They're not the same, cutthroat team that they've always been. And
are they getting back to that?
They you know what? They are
6, 7. Those are their last two.
They are, but that wasn't in the Premier League.
Sure.
So that's all. I'm just looking at the Premier League. So I can say, look at how we've been this season in the Premier League, but we weren't like that in Europa League. We weren't like that in the Carabao Cup. We weren't like that in the FA Cup, unfortunately. So, and yes, we did play weakened teams, so that obviously, is a factor into it. But I actually do think that, there's going to be some real, turns in this title race. And listen, the famous Sir Alex Ferguson, it's squeaky bum time. It is really squeaky bum time. And I do think that we are going to win it, but it's not going to be plain sailing. And I think people actually do think, for some weird reason, they're seeing we've got 10 games left and they're seeing that we have eight points ahead. But in truth, people need to remember, firstly, that's a game in hand that Man City have, and they should win it. That's the first thing. We do need to go to Man City, and yes, they're not amazing, but we can do something amazing there and pick up some points, but we can also not win. We've not beat them in 11 games, so that's another factor. So yeah, listen, it's going to be really difficult, but I just think that Man City, we're going to be surprised with how many points they do drop, and I think we actually will win it by at least 5 points. Actually,
whoa! I hope you're right. I would listen. I don't care. I don't care if we win it on
goal difference,
on fair play. Do you remember the World Cup when there was? I think it was Mexico, Poland, and then it was coming down to yellow cards. I don't care. I listen. Then I'll start saying, "See, Xhaka, see this improved. This is improved. Lack of red cards is doing us favours." Yeah.
Well,
honestly.
we might be able to thank Cancelo because he's got quite a few red cards for Man City this season. So that might be the. Listen, I'm going down to any minute thing that mitigating circumstance.
I don't care if they just go, well, who's first in the alphabet. I don't care how they do it. I want that title.
100%.
Lee, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you who joined us on Fanzone. Remember, you can download the app AFTV Plus and you'll get Fanzone. It is free to use. You can jump on and you can chat to us after the game. But it's not just after the game. Laurie and Curtis have a show on Monday night, Talk is Cheap as well, where you can chat to them in the second half of the show and get their thoughts. And we run it through the week as well. So always look out for it here on AFTV. Go find Gooner Lee's YouTube channel and socials. It's 100%. Just at Gooner Lee, right?
Gooner_Lee. You cannot miss it there. And listen, I love being on this show. I love being part of this crew because it's amazing. And make sure you go and sign up, man, because you can get your voice heard and be part of this amazing community and this amazing season.
Well, thanks, and more than ever. There's more platforms than ever, from Twitter Spaces as well. We are bringing them back soon. I know I always promise that. But Fanzone, fan cams outside the ground, Ask the Fans show that Cecil runs. There's kind of more platform, more opportunity than ever before to be able to just interact with all of you amazing fans around the world, wherever you are, not just here in North London or in the UK, around the world. That's the thing that's amazing. So big thank you to all of you who have joined us. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. And yeah, it's 5:30 UK time. Arsenal have beaten Palace 4-1, 8 points ahead. City have a game in hand.
Top of the league.
But we're asking them questions. See you soon.
Nice.